I want to talk now a little bit about sleep hygiene and tips on sleeping better. Research has shown that teenagers are only sleeping for about 7 to 8 hours a night at the most, and it's known that they should be sleeping for about 9.5 to 10 hours a night, because during our teenage years there's a huge amount of brain maturity happening and teenagers need the extra sleep. Sleep is controlled by two processes, the circadian process, which we know as our biological clock, and the homeostatic process. The circadian process is controlled by environmental cues called Zeitgebers, which is German for time givers. There are 5 cues, and the main one is the light-dark cycle. The circadian rhythm, or our biological clock, is actually slightly longer than 24 hours, and it's the morning light that regulates it and controls it and brings it into our 24-hour cycle. It's important that when we get up in the morning that we go into the lightest room possible as soon as we wake up. We should eat breakfast in a bright room. We should try not to wear sunglasses to school, and if possible try and have a walk in daylight hours. The other side of the light-dark cycle is in the evenings it's getting dark. We have light receptors in our eyes, and as the lack of light happens, this sends messages to our brain, which then sends it to our pineal gland to produce melatonin, which is our sleep hormone. If you're watching television, or you're playing a game on the computer, or you're on your phone, you have an incredible amount of light going into your eyes, and therefore you do not produce melatonin, which is your sleep hormone. So the recommendation is that you should not watch any television, computer games, or anything like that for at least an hour before bed. And if you find that you're waking very early in the morning, some people actually find it's much better if they have blackout blinds on their curtains so that the light doesn't come in, especially in the summer when it's light very early. One of the other things that controls our biological clock is routine meal time. So try to have regular meals at set times, and don't eat a heavy meal last thing at night, because then it's very difficult while you're digesting it. Temperature also controls our biological clock, so it's important that your bedroom is not too cold or too hot, and that you're very comfortable while going to bed. Noise, it's important if possible, I know houses can be noisy, but if possible to have a quiet bedroom. Music, some people find that they can go to sleep better if they have music. That's fine if it is relatively quiet. As I was saying with meal times, routine is very important, and routine controls our biological clock. And though we recommend little children have a very set routine, I think it's still very important as teenagers that you have a routine in the fact that you go to bed at a very specific time, if possible, that you would have your shower, do all the things you need to, you go to bed and you read. And we tend to find that most of us actually do have a set routine when we're going to bed, and it is important that we stick to this. The other process that controls our sleep is what we call the homeostatic process. It is the mechanism that drives the body to sleep. The process is influenced by the accumulation of sleep-promoting chemicals. These chemicals can be blocked by caffeine. We all know caffeine affects our sleep, and this is how caffeine works. So again, it's important 4 to 6 hours before going to bed that we don't have any drinks or any food with caffeine in them. We all know that caffeine is in coffee, tea, stimulants, sports drinks, fizzy drinks, chocolate drinks, and some counter medications. How we act to caffeine is very individual, and some people are more susceptible to it than others. The other thing that's important to promote sleep is to avoid rigorous exercise in the hours before going to bed. Exercise in the day helps achieve a healthy sleep pattern and tiredness at night. Exercise near your bedtime can have a negative impact on your chances of going to sleep, as your adrenaline levels might be very high, making it much harder for you to sleep. The other thing with teenagers, I think, which is very important, is trying not to sleep in at weekends. If we sleep in till 12 o'clock or later, we're not going to feel tired when we go to bed. And then Sunday evening, we're not going to bed till much later. Come Monday morning, we find it incredibly hard to get up and we are very groggy in school. It's exactly the same as jet lag. So acceptable to sleep in during the weekend, but try not to make it for longer than 2 hours. So if you're getting up at 7 o'clock most weekdays, try to actually get up about 9 o'clock at weekends and try to keep within that 2-hour window of your normal waking time.